my hand, no hesitating. When you're just so tired of trying, all alone you feel like hiding. Together we'll keep fighting. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feel it, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Can you see the sun is shining like a new hope? Feel it rising, coming over the horizon. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feel it, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. There's no stopping.
Good evening. It's actually Monday evening. I'm starting a little bit earlier. It's January 20th, and just checking my audio, and the audio is good. Okay, I'm starting a little bit earlier because just have a whole lot of things to do. But you'll see it again if you come in at 7. You'll see it on the replay. But I'm live right now at 6:21, and I'm Chris Gajulo. I'm a licensed associate broker and referral specialist for Realty Connect LLC, where I could put you together with any agent throughout the United States of America. I could help you find a property or list a property anywhere within the United States of America. We have a network of top producers throughout the 50 states. And so this service works well if you're moving from one area to another. Could be within the same state, or it could be across the country. You could be going from the West Coast to the East Coast, or from the East Coast to the West Coast. And I will put you together with the top agents in that area. You have up to about 3 choices. They will contact you, whoever you feel the most comfortable with to work with. That's the agent for you. And we take it from there. There's no additional costs for this. My fee comes out of the closing. There's no added points for it. And that's the way it is. Like, and you actually having like 2 agents for the price of 1. I can still consult you, give you advice, but I'm not the one who's actually showing you the properties or listing the properties. But I would work in conjunction with the agent that you choose. So I'm, for instance, in Hampton, Virginia, within Hampton Roads. But if you are in North Carolina, South Carolina, if you're in California, I can help you. And this is my weekly video podcast of Real Estate with Mr. G, where I discuss what's going on within the industry, as well as mortgages. I do my best to keep you up to date so you will make informed decisions when it comes to purchasing or selling a property, right? I have my blog also, Real Estate with Mr. G .blog, where you will have the minimum of 5 articles per week, as well as videos during that week that, again, will bring you up to date in the industry. I have, well, when you're ready to purchase, you could go to buy a list anywhere where you're in the United States, real estate with Mr. G.us. Okay. But my article presentations and video presentations are at real estate with Mr. G.blog. Okay. So to sum up what I just discussed, this is one of the videos I made to sort of define what I do so you understand it better. So take a look at this. Okay, so I hope that sort of sums it up for you on what I do and how I can help you purchase or list a home or both throughout the United States of America. So this is the new year, new president, and we're going to discuss what we see on what's happening within the real estate industry for 2025, as well as looking at Trump's plan, President Trump's plan. He's no longer a president-elect Trump. He is the president right now, and what he has in store for the housing market. Okay, and we're going to discuss that and discuss the good and the bad about it. All right, it's not going to be one-sided. We're going to look on both sides of it. Okay, so let's go to our person who has our. Even though I discussed already what we're going to discuss tonight.
Good evening, Senior G. I want to purchase a home this year. Can you tell me what you expect as for home prices, home inventory and mortgage rates? Also, what are the newly elected President Trump plans for the housing industry? I watch your video podcast every week with my entire family and friends. We enjoy them very much and find them informative and very fun. Keep it going strong in 2025.
All right, thank you, Juan. And that's exactly right. We will discuss what is going on in the housing market for 2025 and also what is President Trump's plan. So let's look at our PDF file that is on my blog. Take a gander at that. And we'll have a little discussion on this, okay? So wondering what is in store for the housing market this year, and more specifically by what it means for you if you planning to buy or sell a home. Experts are constantly updating and revising their forecast. Okay, a lot of it has to do with what President Trump puts into play. So here's the latest on what's happening. Now, this article was actually published in late December. So we're going to see it, I'll say about for next year, but it's already next year. Okay. So will mortgage rates come down? Actually, right now, they're a little bit over 7%. All right. We were hoping not to reach that high again, but it's there. So everyone's keeping an eye on mortgage rates and waiting for them to come down. So the question is really how far and fast. The good news is they projected to ease a bit in 2025. But you're not going to see the rates come back to 3 to 4%. Okay. That's just not possible. All right. And this is from a quote from Lawrence Yun, chief economist at the National Association of Realtors. As we go back, we're going to go back to 4% per my forecast. Unfortunately, not. It's more likely that we'll go back to about 6%. And that's even questionable. Because if the economy remains strong, it may stay more in the mid 6% and maybe a little bit higher. And what this chart here shows, the projections from you have from Fannie Mae, the Mortgage Banking Association, Wells Fargo, and the average of all three. So Fannie Mae sees quarter one at 6.6%, and it hopefully will go down to 6.20. The MBA has a little bit higher. Well, it starts at the same, but doesn't go down as much. Wells Fargo's pretty close to Fannie Mae, and the average of all the three together, it'd be good if it goes down. If Fannie Mae has it at 6.20, but the average of the three is a 6.30. But you should remember this will continue to change as new information becomes available. Expert forecasts are based on what they know right now. And since everything from inflation to economic drivers have an impact, on where rates go from here. Some ups and downs are still very likely. So don't get caught up with the exact numbers here and try to time the market. Instead, focus on the overall trend on what you can actually control. Now, when they bring that in and what prices you can control is when your mortgage lender will choose the best program for you, what fits your needs, whether it's Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, what is a regular, if you could do 10% down, they will show you the different products that are out there, and you decide which best fits your pocketbook. Okay. Of course, if you're a veteran or if you're active military, you have a program with no money down and no private mortgage insurance. So depending on the rates on that if you're in the situation where you are military or a veteran, that might work best for you. And you could still put money down on it to lower your monthly mortgage payment. And then it comes in, will home prices fall? While mortgage rates are expected to ease, home prices are projected to keep climbing in most areas, just at a lower normal pace. So it's not going to be the craziness of 2019 to, let's say, up to about 2023, when we were in the heart of the pandemic and there was very, very limited inventory. But they expect rates to go up, or prices to go up roughly at 3% this year, 2025, with most of them hitting in the 3 to 4% range. And here again, they show you all the different agencies, whether if they are the National Association of Realtors, or if it's Zillow, other real estate reporting agencies. They give you, their predictions. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to, you could go, there's so many, you could go to my blog and check them out. And why do we see prices still rising? It all comes down to good old economics 101, supply and demand. Even though there are more homes for sale now than there were a year ago, it is still not enough to keep up with all buyers out there, as Redfin explains. Prices will rise at a pace similar to that of the second half of 2024 because we don't expect there to be enough new inventory to meet demand. Keep in mind, though, the housing market is hyperlocal. So this will vary by area. Some markets will see even higher prices, and some may see prices level off or even dip a little if inventory is up in that area. In most places, though, prices will continue to rise as they usually do. Now, going back to inventory, and as we're going to continue with Trump's plans, the cost of materials right now, because of inflation, are very, very high. And builders are wondering if they're going to get a good return on their money once they build. Now, if tariffs go into place and we get a lot of materials, for instance, from China, that will also increase building cost. And maybe some developers are going to say, we're not going to develop that much because we're going to have a hard time selling them off because they're going to be at a much higher price on the market than they were, let's say, 2 or 3 years ago. The same thing with existing homes. You have owners in there who they might like to. It's not a necessity, but they would say, I could use a larger home now. The kids are growing bigger, or we had another child. But I bought my home at 3%. If I sell it and I get a mortgage today, it's going to be at least doubled, right? Because they're at 7% now and higher. Plus, home prices have gone up too. So I'm going to have a pretty big mortgage or a jump in the mortgage amount if I purchase now. And by the way, it's all on the individual basis or case by case. Because if you're a person who have a lot of equity in your home, and if you sell your home and you get a nice chunk of change at the ending, you could use that money to either put down a big down payment so your monthly mortgage is not that high, or you could buy down the rate. But most people, like if they bought their house when the rates, because we had pretty low rates for a while, even if they bought a house at 4%, jumping up to that over 7% is, it's kind of hard to take. And most people, they use their homes as an ATM machine. Excuse me. So even if they had the house for a while, and for a while they brought down their debt on it, and they increased their equity, well, they took out a second mortgage or a line of credit or whatever, and mostly with a second mortgage, or they refinanced and cashed out some money. Now they have very little equity in there. But once again, it's a case-by-case situation. You really have to crunch the numbers and say, well, will this work for me? And the one who will crunch those numbers for you is your mortgage lender, your bank, whoever you're working with the loan specialist, the mortgage agent. Okay, will give you the better numbers on that. So to sum that up, let's look at this nifty little video, and we'll go on to our next topic. Okay. So hopefully that sort of summarizes, excuse me, summarizes what we just discussed, put it in a nice little nutshell. All right. So we're going to move on to what President Trump has in mind for the housing market as he is now president of the United States. We're going to discuss that. And again, I'm not saying good things about it. Well, I'm going to show the positives and negatives about it. And we'll take it from there. There's one thing I didn't include in the well, let me show you the chart first that I did. So watch this. Okay, so here's a screenshot of what I typed out in that video. So one thing he wants to do is build inexpensive homes on federal lands. Sounds like it could be a good deal. Now the question is, what's federal lands? Well, those are state parks, they're reserves. It could be land that is set to lease gas and oil, or the government has control over how much gas or oil could be taken from that land. The thing about federal lands, they're usually not close to industry. In fact, when we look at a map of the federal lands in the United States, if you look, the red represents all federal lands, right? You see the majority of these federal lands more on the western part of the United States, in Wyoming, Montana, Colorado, New Mexico, and Nevada. And usually, again, these are not, or are they near industry? So if you have a house that's in Nevada here, that's on federal land, uh, you may not be able to drive to work. I mean, it might be hours. And the other question is, well, if they're building it out in this barren or, let's say, virgin type land, there's really no other buildings out there. Am I close to shopping centers? Am I close to schools? Am I close to hospitals, medical facilities? So the idea of doing this, I'm not so sure if it's going to work that well. All right. And especially it's going to be more favored on the western part of the United States. If you look at areas out here on the eastern coast where you have most of your industrial complex, right? There's very few. And even if you get a house like really cheap, um, is it going to have the utilities that you need? In other words, schools, shopping centers, medical facilities. So that's a big question. All right. He also wants to, and the president also wants to lower the price of energy by drilling for more oil, which he believes that would also overall bring down costs on many different items, because if you lower the cost of transportation, right, every product, whether it's lumber or groceries going to the market, if the price of energy is, or let's say if it's oranges coming up from Florida, if you lower the price of energy, that will go down. The only thing is that we're producing a lot of oil right now. And this is a quote like I heard from Mark Cuban, who was on Bill Moyer, and saying that after a while, if the price of the barrel of oil drops, tremendously, these big oil companies are not going to drill more because they're not getting the return on their money. Right? Mark Cuban is really thinking as a capitalist, because if your return on this is not going to be that much, you're not going to go crazy. You're going to invest in producing more if you're not going to get the return on it, right? So he brings out a very good point. The number 3, deporting illegal aliens to create more vacant homes. First of all, illegal aliens are not buying homes. They might get rentals, okay? But in order to purchase a home, and again, this is out to my more experienced buyers out there who have purchased before. I mean, you got to show W-2s, you got to show your bank statements, you have to, show, that you're working, right? So like I said, your W-2s, proof of income. You have to have a built-up credit history, right? And illegal aliens are not going to have that. They're not going to be able to show proof of income. There's a good chance they're not even going to be able to show bank statements. All right. They may not have money stored in a Bank of America or Wells Fargo. So even with this mass deportation that President Trump is talking about, I don't think that's going to, I don't think that's going to create a surplus of available homes, because then they don't own homes. Okay. The people who came in from another country who own homes are citizens, right? Yeah, and they have a credit history, and they have a job with a W-2. So I'm not so sure if that's going to work. If that all of a sudden is going to free up homes for new buyers to come in and buy homes. Maybe for the rental market, all right? But to actually purchase a home, not so sure about that. So we talked a little bit about this reduced federal regulations that make home building costly. That could help, all right? There's a lot of regulations in place that may hold back builders or stagnate the process of building new homes or new development. That's a possibility. Some federal regulations are good, right? They protect the environment. They talk about waste management. You know, another example, and maybe, and I'm just throwing this out there. I don't know if it's true or not, or I haven't researched it, but we know with the fires in Los Angeles, they began to lose water pressure, and the hydrants was very possible. And again, don't quote. I'm just throwing this out there that they overbuilt that land, so there were more homes that could use the water from. In other words, there were too many homes out there for the hydrants that they had to pull out all the fires on those homes because it was overused land. They needed to build less, so maybe in a square mile, instead of having 100 homes, it should have been only 50. And maybe because of that less amount of homes that were on fire, perhaps there would have been enough water or enough water pressure in those hydrants to put them out. All right. And a lot of times when it comes to these federal regulations or zoning laws, they're out there to protect the environment and protect the homeowners. So you can't just, you can't cut too much. I know, for instance, now this is not dealing with development of homes, but I notice like where I live in Hampton Roads, so Newport News, like when a new business comes about, and they say we're gonna open our store or a restaurant in spring of 2024, and it's 2025 and it hasn't opened yet. They haven't gotten out of the business, but there's so many rules and regulations and red tape. Um, Codes that have to be up to par. Sometimes maybe it is a pain in the neck. Sometimes it isn't. There has to be enough in place again to protect the public, uh, to protect the environment. But is there a point where, well, we could cut a little bit here and everything will still be fine? The other thing I want to bring up. Okay, let's get this back up here. I actually didn't list it here, but I talked about it in the first part of this is the tariffs. And again, it's sort of indirectly affecting the housing industry, but with the tariffs that President Trump wants to put into place, it may bring up the cost of lumber, of sheetrock, of different products that perhaps are coming from across our borders, okay? And that will also then make housing, the building of homes, and then once they go on sale, the prices of the homes will be much higher. All right. Now, number 5, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I don't like. the major cut to federal housing assistance for low-income families. There's a lot of programs out there that helped people who might fall a little short of purchasing a new home, where they needed some more money, maybe help with a down payment or with closing costs. And in fact, President Trump is also talking about getting rid of the federally backed mortgages, right? The government backed mortgages, which helped. Again, this goes back to Franklin D. Roosevelt when he was trying to get the country back on its feet. These programs he put out there that, instead of having to put down 10% or 20% on the house, we'll back the mortgage, and you just have to put down 3% or 3.5%. So this gave the ability for people who did not have big incomes or big savings to purchase a home. And a lot of people on FHA and Fannie Mae, they have those mortgages. If you take that away, only people with big bucks, who have the high corporate management positions, or they're doctors, lawyers, engineers, whatever. I don't think these programs should be cut, and I don't think he should privatize completely the mortgage industry. I think you should have these mortgages that are protected by the government. And I really hope President Trump does not take that away. All right? Okay, so I think I talked a lot. I hope I was bipartisan. You may agree, you may not agree. I just hope that, I wish President Trump the best, and that he helps everyone in his administration across the board. And I'll leave it like that. Again, if you go to my blog, we have the guide to buying your first home that you could download. Okay. These come out quarterly, so this is the winter guide. And we also have the things for selling your house. Oh, that was actually the when you're first time home buyer. Things to consider when selling your house, the winter edition, and things to consider when buying a home, the winter edition. And where could you get these wonderful guides to download for free? Did I say for free? You go to, let me get it up here. realestateWithMrG.blog/resource-materials. And you download them for free, and you read them, and then you contact me when you're ready to buy or sell a property anywhere within the United States. Okay? Okay. Now, it is Martin Luther King's birthday as well. So I'm going to end, and I've shown this before. I love this rendition of the, it's from the Oswego College, the choir there up in New York State. And they do a beautiful, beautiful rendition of Let There Be Peace on Earth. So I would like to end with that. And I'll see you next week. I'm going to shoot for Saturday. Like I said, I had a lot of things doing, and I had problems with my software. And so I'm going to do one next week, but I'm shooting for Saturday. Okay? So I wish you the best. And always remember, the greatest power we have is love, and the greatest gift is each other. And then I'll see you next week.